without him having a go at me for never trusting him, I've become I just feel safe and I just trust him. So that's been the flip side of me being sick. I think the other thing is that we had to make a decision together to get rid of any other stress in our life because we just didn't have any room for any other stress. So it actually gave us a really powerful way of looking at things and this real powerful realization that we both have this value on having a no stress life.
Yeah.
So we cut so much crap out of our lives. Yeah.
Black and white decision process. Does this create stress in our life? Yes, no. If it's a yes, then we don't
Yeah. Welcome to The Body Never Lies. I'm your host, Leela Lutz. Each week, myself and experts from around the world help you uncover the secret ways your body communicates with you to empower you in your own individual health journey. Welcome back to the show, guys. We've had a little break and it wasn't an intentional break. It was actually because I got sick. And as most of you parents know, when you get sick, your kid gets sick, then you need to help time to get your child get better, then you get sick, and it's like this really long process. So I had to really choose what I committed to over that period. But what became really true for me was that I really wanted to do an episode on relationship, and I had been trying to hunt down like a professional relationship coach or something, and I just haven't been able to find one that fits. And then I thought, well, I won't do relationships in this series. But then last week, the last 2 weeks, it really just honed in to me how important relationship is in health, because our family wouldn't function and I wouldn't have been able to get better if Shaun and I didn't really support each other in health, in relationship. And so it really cemented for me that it's probably just a really good idea for me to have Shaun on the show and for us to talk to you guys about how we do health, because how much better is it to hear that just from a real couple, not a therapist telling you how you should do it. So I'm so grateful that Shaun has agreed to do this, and I love that you guys all said that you really wanted to hear from Shaun and myself. But I guess before I start, I'm going to put a little clause, caveat. Is that the right word, my darling?
I'm not your lawyer.
He's not being my lawyer today. I really want to put a little caveat on the episode to say that this is not a episode about how you should do relationship or what is right or wrong in relationship. This
Can you
chat,
say relationships? It's plural.
Okay, relationships. Okay.
That's the only legal comment I'm making.
Okay. We are just going to talk about how we do relationship and how that works for us. And it works for us. And so by no means should you take it as advice on how to do your own relationship. I just hope that hearing how another couple does it, how they work together, might inspire you to find your own way with your partner. Or if you're single, it might inspire you to find the person that you're looking for that's going to support you in your health goals. That's all it is. It's not instructional or advice. Thanks for coming on the show, honey.
You're welcome. I'm trying not to feel like second fiddle so much that I was the last resort from all the other options that you tried to do.
Did it make you sound like that? I'm so sorry.
I tried to look at, I just thought there was no one else, so I thought I'd just scrape up, sure.
Oh, wow. Did it make it sound like that? I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
Oh.
I'm actually a little bit nervous. I mean, this is my first podcast, let alone the first one where I'm sleeping with the host. So, and don't get me wrong, I get people asking for me to go on podcasts all the time. I just turn them down. I've been waiting for the right host, so it's an honour and a pleasure.
Thanks, darling.
I've only got an hour though, so make it.
Oh, okay. Sorry. He's on the clock. So, okay. The first thing I want to say, I saw this on Instagram the other day. Little quote. I thought this is hilarious. And so true, though. Life is not a fairy tale. If you lost your shoe at midnight, then you were probably drunk. Yep. I don't think that any relationship is a fairy tale, and that's not to say that we're not very much in love. I think that all that fairy tale stuff, if you focus on that, it leads you to a dead end. A relationship is communication, hard work, and really putting the effort in together. And sometimes some fairy tale stuff happens, but not really. And that's not what we're here for. And, you know, Shaun and I probably aren't really into that kind of fairy tale stuff anyway. We actually met. Should we talk about? Yeah, I think we should talk about how we met first. Because
go for it.
Do you want to talk?
Tread carefully. No, take it away.
We actually met quite late in life. So I say that we met in our 30s. So we met on a dating app. And
it wasn't Tinder, for the record.
Like, because that's the more...
Oh, sorry, is that a judgmental thing to say?
I don't know. I think everyone judges dating apps, whatever. But I think there's so many people meeting them on. Anyway, that worked for us. So we met on a dating app and we had a really long time talking on the phone before we actually met in person, which I really liked because generally on dating apps there's just like this really quick text conversation and, you know, pressure to meet straight away, pressure to date, all this sort of stuff. Whereas I really felt like Shaun was just really authentic and genuine and down to earth and was just really wanted to get to know me, and it was really nice. So I know it's really corny when you say like you just know straight away, but there was just something about Shaun. And so I was really busy when we met. I was doing a course and I was really working hard in my business, and I was helping my cousin with her 3 girls because she was trying to get back into work and going through a divorce. And so I was pretty full on and pretty busy, but I don't know, I just got into this stage where I just wanted to call Shaun every night, and we would chat every night for like 3 weeks for a couple of hours or so. And it's a really important thing for me to be able to have that connection and be able to talk to someone. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was just impressed that you wouldn't jump straight into bed with me straight away like I was trying, clearly. So there's a lot of work. I mean, talking about relationships being hard work. There's a lot of time that went into that, and I was just hoping that it wasn't one big anticlimax. So, you know, look where we are now.
Oh, that's very endearing.
Yeah.
That's very endearing. Anyway, all that mushy stuff aside and dating stuff, but, you know, I think people want to know. So we actually haven't been together that long. So we've only been together for about 4 years. We've accomplished or gone through the motions of settling down and having kids and, you know, committing to each other lifelong very quickly in that stage.
Just bought a house?
Yeah, we just bought a house. We just bought a house last week, everyone. High five. Woohoo! That was a really long process to get to. So I think, you know, it is true, when you know, you just know. And so I want to talk about how you just know. And for me, I was really, really clear on my relationship values and what I valued in relationship. And I was really clear on how I wanted to feel in a relationship and what kind of energy I wanted and support and what I wanted to give to a relationship. So I think, and I'm not saying that's easy. I actually had to do quite a lot of work on myself to get to that stage. I was single for 5 years before I met Shaun, dated lots of, you know, duds. I'd also been in 2 long-term de facto relationships before that. So it took me a long time to get to the place where I was actually ready to have a relationship. And, you know, I didn't come from a place where I hadn't had an experience of good relationship from my parents. Actually quite the opposite. It was quite volatile and traumatic. So I had a lot of walls that I had to break down myself to allow the kind of relationship that I wanted to happen. But when I had done all that work and I met Shaun, it was just really apparent to me that he was that person. And what I noticed, there wasn't all that romantic, like, no, I mean, like, it's actually really nice. It wasn't like all that drama and like being swept off my feet and, you know, all this crazy, like desperately passionate, like, you know, this place where you actually sort of leave your whole body and you leave your life and you live in this magical romantic place. Like, it wasn't like that. And so there was no drama. It just fitted and it just worked and it was very real. And to me, that was something really important to me as well.
functionality and being aligned on, every level, it seemed. So maybe the word is it wasn't difficult. I don't know. I kind of like to think that it was romantic, but Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, it was romantic. But again, like coming back to that thing, like I can just talk to Shaun for hours. And we still can, even after 4 years. My favourite person to hang out with and tell all my secrets to is Shaun, and I can just talk to him for hours. So I think getting really clear on your values and what you want from a relationship is really important. And then when you get together, actually discussing those values together. So it's not like, I'm just going to bring up my values list and what's your value list, Shaun?
Kill me now.
It's not like that at all. I think it's just in having an inherent knowing of what your values are. Would you want to share yours? Or?
Yeah, probably, because you'll have a longer list.
And would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, going through a process of working out what they are, it doesn't always happen, does it? Like I kind of feel like I didn't really go down consciously and work out what my values were until I was in my sort of early 30s after a big breakdown, in a serious relationship. And weirdly, it was at a course in New Zealand, a leadership course of all things that I did through work, and I was in a bit of a bad place. But I remember one of the exercises being, pulling out a whole bunch of draw cards. There was like 300 of them or whatever, and identifying 10 or 20 or whatever it was of the things that you valued. And I remember that exercise being quite a profound moment for me. So yeah, I don't know. So some of those values, I'm not going to list them all, would be honesty, not in no particular order. Loving and caring, like that nurturing, loving and caring side of things. Physical attraction is a huge value for me, that real physical sexual attraction. Authenticity is another one. Hardworking and passionate is another one. That's probably... I guess like just simple stuff like, having fun and having a laugh and not taking yourself too seriously. I can say others, but they're kind of quite synonymous with those that I've brought up.
Yeah.
Have I missed a big one?
Well, yeah, I think you've missed our biggest, most common one. But...
Oh, that's awkward.
No, but I think you'll agree with me once I say it, because it really is. For us... Well, you can disagree with me.
Can we get a fan on here? I'm sweating up.
No, that wasn't a criticism.
Can we delete this bit and I go back and start again?
No, I'm not deleting it. These conversations are authentic because it's one of my highest values. My highest values is authenticity, and integrity is probably my second highest value. But in terms of relationship, it was the same as Shaun, like that real love and connection and passion. But one of the big ones that I think that we really share and what makes it work so well is being a team and supporting each other. Would you agree?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very much a team and we do everything as a team and we play as a team. So, I think it's really important to note that I've met lots of people, couples that don't have that value, and that's totally okay. That's just, there's quite a lot of couples that have very separate lives or very separate interests or do things more with an individual focus, but their relationship still works. So I don't want you to think that because you didn't have being a team in your values that your relationship's going to work. It's just a value that's really important to Shaun and me. And I think loyalty is really important as well. Yeah. And I would know that's one of Shaun's highest values is loyalty. So we really stand for each other.
They kind of go hand in hand, don't they? Being a team and loyalty, because you're being inherently loyal to each other by being a team. And there have been moments, like as important as that value is, like our little daughter has tested that team side, sometimes where, she'll say something and I'll react in a way and you'll be like, hang on, I'm not sure if that's the right reaction.
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck in that moment of, you can see your child look at you and desperately wanting to see an inconsistency in the approach. And there's that conflict. Like, it's not, I think it's important, we're definitely aligned on it. But to be honest, there's definitely been moments where it tests you. Maybe I'm going down the whole parenting sort of
we'll come back
being parents thing, but
we'll come back and talk about parenting more specifically, because it definitely is a whole evolution in your relationship. But I think those core values, and it's not like, you just know the list and you stick to the list all the time. It's like having your healthy food list and your treat food list. Like, you sometimes sway from the list. And so, like, communication is on our list as well. We're very much believers that we can talk about anything with each other. But, sometimes you just get really pissed off with each other and you don't want to talk, which is like sometimes the demise of a situation that could have been way less sticky and yuck than it could be if we just talked about it in the first place. But, we're humans, so sometimes we don't talk about stuff when we should. But we always know that that's our value and we come back to it.
You're coming up with these really good ones. I wish you'd gone first now, because then I could have just piggybacked off yours and said, yeah, all of those, plus or minus these few. Just on communication, if you don't mind. It's not like you commented on all of mine, but I think that's another example of where I think it's fundamental. I really do. But I feel like my own journey of communication has evolved. I think when we first met, my way of communicating certainly, it was more conflict and getting angry and just wanting conflict, frankly, or wanting confrontation is the word. But now it's moved to more of an adult-like way of communicating, which, that I thank you a lot for that. I think we've both realised that was an area maybe where things were a little bit in need of development, shall we say, from just learnt behaviour or whatever.
But then I could equally say as much for you, because although communication's super important to me, when I'm in a place of vulnerability, the ice queen, I'm going to talk about her, don't worry.
Yeah.
When I'm in a place of vulnerability or stress, I often become quite internal and withdrawn.
Withdrawn, good word.
Yeah, so I don't communicate. So whereas when Shaun's in a place of stress and vulnerability, he gets quite angry and wants to unleash and fight about it and stuff. So, it's not to say that we just communicate all the time, but we have challenges. I think this is a good stuff. We do have a little bit of a plan to follow to make sure we get through everything that I want to help people with. But so when, it's in those moments, right, of realising, I guess, we want to talk about your stuff is not your partner's stuff, and it's not your job to fix each other, basically. And I think that's really key for people to understand. So we both know each other's weakness. So Shaun's is, my communication's not working now, so I'm just going to yell or I'm going to snap about something, whereas mine is, it's not working for me right now, so I'm just going to withdraw and not talk to anyone and fix it all myself and go into this lonely, dark place. So it's in those moments, it's taking responsibility for yourself, which is really not easy, because, of course, it's much easier for me to just go and be inside myself and not talk about it. And, Shaun would, like to throw his phone out the back door or something. I don't know, like whatever you want to do. Being a grown-up, being self-responsible in a relationship and going, well, this really is not the best behaviour to work towards a goal together or to be connected, and behaving like this is not actually fulfilling all of our other values and being true to our other values. So that's a big thing for us, and I'm still working on that. Shaun's still working on his. It's a work in progress. And the other thing is, when that happens is, I'm actually really good at dealing with angry people, because I came from a very volatile background, so it's almost like a specialty of mine. So when Shaun gets angry, it actually doesn't trigger me at all. But does it trigger you when I get withdrawn?
Yeah, it's annoying, because I just kind of go, just say what you have to say, or let's just have it out, or it's just a bit disconnecting, frankly. And a bit lonely, really.
Yeah.
But I think one of the biggest things I've learned is trying not to take it personally, which is easier said than done, and holding the space, that famous expression that I kind of just keep reminding myself to do, that is the only thing you can really do. And knowing that, that's your journey or whatever, or that's your feeling that you're going through or process that you're going through, and, you can't force someone or push someone out of it or whatever. It's not easy to do.
No.
And sometimes you just want to drag someone out of it. I don't know if that's necessarily fixing it. Maybe it is. I think that's difficult, isn't it? Because you want a resolution, you want things to be normal, but you kind of got to just let someone go through it in their own way, and that's showing respect. And yeah,
I think that was my next point, is not feeling the need to fix the other person. Like, being in relationships is actually just holding space for them when they're going through something.
Sorry, I'm really screwing with your agenda.
No, you're actually on it. You're actually on it. It's good. You just naturally flow into it. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of awesome. I've done many podcasts.
So it is true. It's like really hard. And I think for Shaun, like, he's a typical man. His solution is, well, I can fix this and I can make it better. And I think that's a really beautiful part of a masculine sort of design, is like they are the fixers and the providers, and for women, like, so often we just want to be heard and we just want to have space to have our feelings. And I have to say, like, Shaun is so good at doing that for me. And so it's actually him just giving me the space that allows me to go, okay, well, you're not supposed to be doing the internal thing. It's not helpful. Maybe just say, I'm angry, or something. Just say something rather than nothing, like put something out rather than keeping it all in. And because he's so patient and not trying to push me to change, it makes it easier for me to change.
That's a big compliment, though, because I'm inherently impatient, and so it's a really difficult thing to do.
I find you are so patient with me, though.
Yeah, but I'm probably internally just cursing you.
I know, but you're so patient with me. You are probably one of the most impatient people I've ever met.
Finally, tell the truth.
But I think that you're incredibly patient with me. Like, I'm blown away. Like, the juxtaposition sometimes for me is like, wow, it's pretty amazing, actually. And I guess this brings me on to another point that I wanted to make, is that sometimes your greatest strength is often your greatest weakness. So Shaun is talking about his impatience. Like, he's an M&A lawyer, and I think that passion and impatience and aggression makes him very successful in his work. And also, like, if we need to get stuff done, like, I can procrastinate. Like, if you want something done, get Shaun to do it. He will do it, like, in the quickest amount of time possible and as well as possible. Like, he's just focus and determination is absolutely beyond belief how good he is at that. But the flip side of that was when stuff's not happening, he's just like screaming, like, why is this not happening? So, I think, and that's where that combative, like wanting to have combative communication and stuff like that comes from, because for you it's like action and of like resolution and stuff. So, like, your greatest strength is often your greatest weakness. Yeah. So for me, I'm a very internal person, and actually in my head is this entire world of imagination and thought and process, and I really come up with some awesome stuff when I'm internal. Like, and that's how I come up with all my business ideas. I have like epiphanies about clients. I have, for me to go within is a real state of power for me. And also it allows me to hold space for other people, and it also allows me to not be bothered by other people's stuff, basically. And I think that's what makes me so good at my job. However, when I think it can mean I'm quite laissez-faire with parenting. Sean's like eyes just wide and he's like, blah. So, like, I don't really get bothered by what our daughter does.
Bothered by something. She's about to jump off the balcony.
Oh, come on, that's a bit aggressive.
Never
That's
let the truth get in the way of a good story.
So I'm very laissez-faire and I'm just like, yeah, people just need to be who they want to be and be themselves and stuff, and I don't want to interrupt that. So... And I can actually sit there while our daughter's banging stuff on the table and just be like, oh, well, she's 3, she's banging stuff on the table. And Sean will be like...
Why are you doing that? You are intelligent.
And then you get so mad at me because I'm not doing something about it. And you're like, does this not drive you crazy?
Yeah, it makes me more angry than what I otherwise would be. If you just reacted like a normal person, then I wouldn't have to, like, compensate for your level of lack of not getting... wound up about something that should be wound up about. That's
so
right to say that.
I can be really like so relaxed that I just don't. Sometimes I don't even get excited about stuff as well.
It just, it just winds me up. Especially when it's between you and I just look at you and I'm like, your heart rate is still sitting at 60, and mine's like 160.
Yeah. And it used to wind, and I just don't like, I just like walk away from that kind of combat. I'm just like, there's no purpose to having this conversation because you're not in a rational place. Let's have it when we've calmed down. And you're like, no, let's have it now. So yeah, I think it's really looking at sometimes your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to you can't fix your partner, like talking about, how we really make space for each other in those moments, accept them, not get too personal about them, take them on personally. An interesting one, I think, to note when we're coming to talk about health is when I met Shaun. He wasn't particularly healthy. And you were going through a phase when I met you and stuff. But when I met Shaun, he drank a lot of wine and he ate a lot of pasta. And he had this little pot belly.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Jesus.
I thought we weren't going to get personal on this. Why don't you put up a photo?
No, I can if you want. No. So, and no, I'm bringing this up not as something to pick on Shaun about. What I think is really important is to know that I actually never, ever tried to change Shaun in any way. And this is something, that's really important to me. And even with my clients is not to change them. I really, truly, honestly believe that people need to be internally motivated to make their own changes because then they're lasting changes. And I still to this day, Shaun's not perfect. He's not a client of mine. And so if he does something with his health that I don't think is optimal, he didn't ask for my opinion on it, so I don't give one. And I think that's really important because he's his own person. He's allowed to be his own person. And I say that as well because, I have a lot of clients who, oh my God, I'm doing this new thing and I'm so healthy now and you need to do it too. Like, this is a big thing for people where they do something new and they feel great and they start telling everyone about it and you should do it because it's going to make you feel great and it's going to make you feel awesome. That can often be the first thing that makes people not want to do something, especially your partner. I think because, you don't want to fix your partner because they're not a problem to be solved or a project but also then you become like a parent that's telling the other person what to do. And then in your unconscious mind, that's really kind of weird because you don't really want to have sex or relationship with your parent. So I'm really big on not...
It's really unattractive.
It's really unattractive.
It's really divisive as well, right?
Yeah.
I think that really drives people apart. It becomes really separating when that sort of nagging parent comes in. Because who liked that as a kid, right? So if you never liked it as a kid, which is perfectly normal, you're not going to like it in your adult life, and either consciously or unconsciously you're going to drive that person away, be it on the receiving end or on the giving end.
Yeah, totally. So Shaun's obviously he's very healthy now. Yeah. And you've adopted a lot of my philosophies, and Shaun's actually probably, you're definitely probably more of a contributor in terms of food and all that stuff, which we'll get into. But so I never actually told you to do any of that, did I?
No, you didn't. I there's a few things to this. One is, you know, when we first met, it wasn't like I was eating, you know, packets of Maltese. Well, I was actually. All right, those things were so good. Let me use another example. You know, I would have regarded myself as not unhealthy as such. Like, you know, I sort of, there's a spectrum, isn't there? And I knew I wasn't very healthy, but I knew that I wasn't very unhealthy, and I kind of was like, well, that's fine relative to other people that, you know, you see eating hot chips, you know, eating McDonald's for every meal, or, you know, eating candy and chocolate all day long, and, you know, all that sort of stuff. But I think what opened my eyes when we met was like, wow, there's this whole realm of real, genuinely healthy eating, clean eating, and it really opened my eyes, and it just kind of it intrigued me and inspired me to try that way. Plus, also you are a celiac, and so by virtue of what you ate, I ate, because who's going to go out and cook 2 different meals and all the rest? And so there was a practical side where I started eating that way, and I really felt the difference straight away. Like very, very, not straight away, but I really noticed the difference. I vividly remember noticing that change in myself from an energy perspective, my skin. I wasn't like puffy, my hair, my nails, like going to the gym, my body's responsiveness to the gym, all that sort of stuff. My sleep, and so it was a big eye-opener. Like, you think you're healthy, but then you realise you're not. Well, you could be healthier.
What is
and when
you
experience that change, you believe in it and you see it. And I do now subscribe to that belief. You are what you eat. And so, yeah, I've got my vices, and I don't believe in perfection, just to correct your word before. You know, when you said Shaun's not perfect, I don't like that word. Could I improve certain things? Yes, I probably could, but am I happy with where I am? Yes, I am. I've just had my 2 girls coughing and spluttering over there for the last 3 weeks, and I haven't had a cold that whole time. So I feel like my immune system and my health is better than it's ever been in my whole life, and it has been like that for, you know, since after we met.
What do you think it's about? Because, right, it's interesting, right? Because I would meet guys, date guys, because I think there'd be a lot of people listening.
Used to date guys.
I used to date guys.
That now, which is
I really don't have the time. If you like, I used to, when I was dating, people would find it, and, you know, people used to always say to me, oh, you know, you'll get a new boyfriend, he'll be a project because he couldn't be as healthy as you, and you know, I'm just talking about this too because I really noticed that, yeah, some people are healthy and then they want their partner to be healthy, so, you know, just helping people with that problem. So I used to date guys, and they would, like, I remember I used to date this guy, and he would, like, almost like he would purposefully eat McDonald's before we met up. Like, I would always find McDonald's in his car. I actually never said anything to him about it all, like, because it's his choice, and we were just dating. Except
when he burped and you smelled gherkin.
Special sauce.
Right.
It's actually a real, like, thing that I always aspire to do, is to be, you know, never ever judge someone. Or so, you know, I find it really interesting that people would take it upon themselves to shame themselves about the way they were in front of me, or almost like rebelliously not be healthy or something. It was kind of weird. But then I met you, and you just went, oh, okay, cool, I'll do that.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I remember on some level thinking that I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if it was not I want to do us, but more, do I want to make these changes? Because they were big changes, right? And I remember kind of going through a process of resisting it for whatever reason, mainly because, you know, if you're smashing pasta every night and having a glass of wine, frankly, that's really nice and easy, right? And you get into a habit and all the rest.
Shaun does make a really good pasta. A really good pasta.
Yeah, I can do a good pasta.
It's just now sometimes food, not an everyday food.
Well, plus we eat a gluten-free version of it,
Yeah.
and it's, relatively very healthy. But I guess going back to what I said, having tried it and felt the experience of it, and, when you have that experience of feeling a better thing, you strive for it. And I also, frankly, this is going to sound weird, but I kind of just went, this is better and healthier for you, for me as a person. I'm going to live longer. Why wouldn't you want to do it? Mm. So it just felt like a very binary thing. It was a no-brainer. Even if you were a bit reluctant to do it for whatever reason, breaking habits, making change, why wouldn't you want to do it? It was a very logical, sort of easy binary thing to do, or just what, and alternatively, it seemed silly and ridiculous to consciously decide to stay relatively unhealthy.
But I think it's true. You did get very quick results. Like your physique changed very quickly. You've got really good muscle definition. And
my clarity of thought.
Yeah.
Like I remember, just my ability to analyze a problem and just instinctively go to the solution was just like my sharp thinking and focus and all that stuff is, and it still is. Like it's not like there was this spike or whatever. I kind of feel like that's a lot of that is food. Like I really believe it. I really believe it.
Yeah, it's just.
And I can tell if I have a couple of drinks too many, which, I often do on the weekends, let's face it. That was the elephant in the room that Leila was alluding to before. I do notice that. As everyone does, you feel a bit dusty if you're hungover or whatever. But I notice that. But, that's a decision I make. And I accept the responsibility of the outcome, of that outcome. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, so I just find, it's just interesting that you just did that. Like, we never even had a conversation about it. I never had to, I don't know, you just seem to just do it, embrace it.
But you did inspire me as well. Like, you inspired me. You opened my eyes to that. And before that, ignorance is bliss, right? Having that knowledge, I had no idea that sort of existed. Because all you hear is like, diet this and diet that and go on this and try that and all this sort of stuff. But there was just a really simple, clean way of approaching food that you opened my eyes to, and it made sense. Although that cleanse we did before, that nearly killed me. But again, I needed to do that at that point in time, right? Because I was really in a bad way with that habit.
Well, cut out the most major things that you relied on, that's why. But equally, when I met Shaun, I was a massive workaholic and I was very fiercely independent and afraid of letting my guard down. And equally...
Ice Queen.
Ice Queen.
Oh, cough.
Ice Queen.
Maybe I do have a cough.
No, I think I just want to share that, you never ever commented on that or forced me to get out of it. Whereas every single guy I'd ever dated before was always like, did you ever think that you work too much or you're so independent or, it was never, it was something that I came to of my own volition. I was like, maybe, I would watch myself, I'd be so uptight on a Friday and then, I don't know, there was something about Shaun as well that just made me want to be more relaxed and free on a weekend, and after a while, after a long time, I've gone from this workaholic, fiercely independent, I can do everything myself person to who I am now.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I wouldn't say I wasn't thinking thoughts at that time. I snap out of it. Why are you being so withdrawn, you weirdo? Why am I spending my Friday night here by myself, like seemingly by myself?
Oh, wow, this sounds really bad. Was it that bad?
Truth comes out. No, it wasn't really like. I think it happened a few times at the start when you kind of, I don't know, I kind of felt like you realised that wasn't a path that you wanted to. It didn't serve you. I don't know, like I mean, it's not real. I mean, the passionate side of work things, I respect. It wasn't really that. It was just like being withdrawn and disconnected, and that to me is just not really conducive to having a proper relationship. So, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of, just.
It just kind of evolved though on its own. It wasn't.
I agree.
Forced thing. I think that's really important.
I mean, I had the dating app ready to go if you didn't snap out of it. Two people on the side ready to go if things didn't work out. I had a backup plan. So.
Such a shit stirrer. So yeah, I think we can moving on.
That's a joke.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah, it's totally a joke. Maybe not really. I'm going to check his phone later.
Just change my password.
I'm just alright. I'll get your thumbprint while you're asleep. Yeah. So there are big things, right? Just holding space for each other is really important. And I guess like that moves on to passion. So I think from the beginning, Shaun has really understood how important career is to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have really seen that it's so important for him to do what he loves. And there was quite a transition when we met. He was in a job that he didn't love, and then he changed to a job that he did love, and his whole energy and personality just like was uplifted. And actually he was so sexy that first week that he was at this new job, which is his current job, because I know all his colleagues listen to this podcast. There was something in him, this fire that was just burning, and he was so sexy and attractive to me. It's actually the week Shanti was conceived. Yep. So, that's a really big value for both of us, is understanding that we're both very passionate people about what we do, and we both have this, we both know what our purpose is, I guess, and we're both very focused on our purpose, and what we see in each other is when we're living on purpose, what we bring back to the relationship, what we bring back to our family, what we give to ourselves just magnifies everything. So, I guess like I'm always behind Shaun in what he wants to do in his career. That, like M&A means working late nights. It means working weekends sometimes. And not all the time. Shaun's really balanced in his work, but that's just the nature of the job. So for me to support him to do that, like when he's working on a big M&A deal, there's just this fire in him, and it really ignites him. And so I'm here to support him to do that, because what that means is he just turns into this amazing person. He's in his true capacity and potential, whatever word you want to use. And when he comes back to the family from working on that deal, he's just like this better person that I just want to be with even more. And so the same goes, I would say, for Shaun with my career and passion. And that's been a harder one, right? Because, and I think this is really important to talk about as well, is that when you have a baby, and, this will lead into us talking about how our family runs and how, we balance all that. When you have a baby, I think it's a really personal thing, and you need to decide on how that dynamic is going to work. And as much as I'm a feminist and of some sort, and Shaun's very much a supporter of independent and intelligent women and women having a career, for us, the values around family meant that I would be the primary carer of our daughter, and I would sacrifice parts of my life to be that primary carer. And we really work together as a team to make that happen. And what's really happened now over the last few months is that Shaun has stepped up so much to help me get my career back on track now that Shanti's at preschool. And I really feel like it's almost like you have no problem doing that. Like, you're just so supportive, and it's not a question.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think you covered a bit there, but I think the purpose and passion, if you don't have that, you've got nothing really. Like, it's so important, and you can derive that from one source or a number of sources in your life, professional, personal, whatever. But I think, in going back to what you first said, around the time that we met, when I did change jobs, I moved from something that I was deeply unhappy in doing and something that was the opposite of that, and that really sort of crystallized my passion and purpose. And it's a bit corny, but I absolutely love what I do, and I wouldn't want to do anything else. And I love, I jump out of bed and want to do that every day. And that was a big missing part in my life. Until that time, as was our beautiful relationship that we have. And, they were two huge things that happened at that time. And then lo and behold, we fell pregnant. Like, talk about the pyramid of life, right? That just took me to a different level as a person. And, I think when we had our daughter, you lost a part of that, which was your work, and you also, your health took a sideways turn. So you lost two big parts of that make you whole, I think. Going back to my pyramid thing, that's my concept, whether that's right or wrong. And your health thing still, frankly, isn't, there. It's not, it's better, but it's not where it should be or was. And one of the best things, though, has been you getting your passion back in your work. And, COVID, frankly, that's been a silver lining, because it's meant that I've had to be home more. There've been bigger periods of me being quiet, which has allowed me to step up, to use your words. And I can see how fulfilled and happy you are relative to what you were. And that is the best thing ever, because that serves you and it serves our family. And I can see the energy that you derive from that. And I think, why wouldn't you want someone to have that? It's so fundamental.
Yeah, it just gives back to our family, right? So,
yeah, on every level.
Yeah.
But, yeah, because if you're not happy in yourself, if you don't have your passion and your purpose, how can you be there and be properly you with the rest of your family? It affects everything. It does.
And I think that's really important to know here for people that are listening who don't have their ideal career, they're searching for it, or you don't have passion and purpose in your career. You could have passion and purpose in other areas of your life. So it could be in a charity project, or it could be in volunteer work, and it can be parenting and being the stay-at-home parent. I'm really careful to say that you will have this burning passion and great why that's answered for you in career, because not everyone is like that. But definitely Shaun and I very much so, very passionate about our careers. And I think that, one of the things that I've accepted with my career is that it's not because of our values that we have, the way we want to raise our daughter, the family that we want to be. My career is not as I don't know what the word is, but it's not at its peak at the moment. And I've sort of just gone, well, it's not going to be until, Shanti's a certain age, because at the moment it's a balance of all of my values, not just my career. So I don't know, I've sort of written myself a business plan that incorporates me being the primary carer more. And, it's actually, something I'm actually really happy with the plan, because it's progressing along, but it incorporates me being more of the stay-at-home parent than Shaun. And, I think that's really okay. And I think this comes back to knowing what your goals are as a couple. So we're very clear on our goals. We're very clear on what's important to us. We had a really terrible time the last couple of years with my health, and that sort of shoved our goals a bit sideways. So be it financial goals, goals for holidays, goals for experiences, like all of that stuff kind of got pushed to the side. And I think what it actually forced us to do as a couple, well, one thing I really learnt to trust, and that Shaun will always take care of me, because the care that he's given me over this period has been exceptional. The care that he's given me, like when I was in labour, like everything, like Shaun just really takes care of me. So it's without him having a go at me for never trusting him, I've become, like, I just feel safe and I just trust him. So that's been the flip side of me being sick. I think the other thing is that we had to make a decision together to get rid of any other stress in our life, because we just didn't have any room for any other stress. So it actually gave us a really powerful way of looking at things, and this real powerful realization that we both have this value on having a no stress life.
Yeah.
So we cut so much crap out of our lives. Yeah.
Black and white decision process. Does this create stress in our life? Yes, no. If it's a yes, then we don't.
Yeah. And it's just like, I think it's been really grounding, because, like, you know, at one stage we were going to renovate a house and we were like, this renovation is going to cost all this money. It's going to be all this stress. Is it really going to serve us? And what we realised, it meant we could have a dream a few years down the track, but we would be so busy trying to create that dream, we wouldn't be enjoying our current life.
In circumstances where we weren't operating at a great capacity level because your health was diminished, and so that prompted a decision to sell rather than, or to not do that and rent, and decisions like that, big decisions, right?
Yeah. And it was like letting go of all of this belief about you should own your own property and you should be accumulating wealth and you should be, like, all this sort of stuff. We let go of so much stuff, and, you know, probably not what we were brought up to believe, or, you know, the status quo of working towards that stuff. We just went, you know what, we're just going to cut a whole lot of stuff and get rid of everything that's stressing us out. And we just rented for a while. We've been renting for a while, and I don't know, like, I just feel like that set us up as well to be even better team, because now we just know, okay, things are stressful, what needs to go, what's important. I don't know, like, I feel like that was just so pivotal as a team to be able to do that. I remember that moment of going, let's just not have any stress in our life and cut stuff out. And that's not to say there isn't stress. Of course there is stress, but it's choosing, like, do I really need to do this thing right now that I want to do, or can it just wait till later when I've got more resources and more capacity to do it? So, yeah, I think that comes back to, as well, being so aligned on our goals. So we've realised renting, we hate renting. We hate renting. We both owned property before we met, and we lived in our own properties for quite a long period of time, and we're actually homeowners. And I think this is something really important to ascertain, and something that Kanna and I spoke about in our episode about finances. And, you know, owning a home is not for everyone, but what Shaun and I have ascertained that it really is for us. We're certainty people, we're safety and security people.
House proud.
We're house proud. We love decorating, we love gardening, and we're actually, you know, especially over COVID, we realised we actually were fine in COVID because we actually really like being at home in a beautiful home. So
love having people over, love that sense of, you know, owning your own beautiful home, and that's an interesting path that we went down, right? Because in simplifying our life and taking stress loads off to focus on health and other things, you know, selling a house is a stressful thing to do, but we did it in a less stressful way by doing an off-market campaign. We went through an agent that we really trusted, and we liquidated assets there with a view to buying again, but that didn't sort of work out. Like, it's been 12 months since we've been back in the market now. We inadvertently have put a little bit of stress back onto ourselves by having a bit of an uncertain period, by being at the mercy of a landlord on whether or not they're going to renew, or what, you know, whether there's mold in the house or all that sort of thing. But I guess we've kind of, it's impossible to rid all of the stress of your life, but I certainly feel like the path we went down was the right one. And now we're back in the market, not to labour the point, but it's...
But I think also, like, we've bought a house that we didn't think we would buy. Like, it's a bit smaller, but also now when you start realising what's important, you go, well, what's important for us is being able to walk to school, being close. So, because, I love that you can get the bus home from work. It takes 10 minutes because we spend time together, because one of our really high values as a family is spending quality time together. So
close to great family and friends around here, like family friend, like we've just got a great network around here as well.
And also like just having that, not having to drive Shanti to school. So her education is a really important value for us as she goes to a Montessori school, and it's a private school, so that needs to be factored in terms budget wise, but it's just something that we've really value, and it's a goal for us to have that type of education. And so all these factors come into like when you want to buy a house. But I think we have a really good process of working out what we want and what we shouldn't have. And we don't always agree to start with. There's been some houses that you've wanted to buy and I've just been like skin crawling, no, like I can't live there. And, like alarm bells going off or, stuff. It's not to say that we always agree. That's not possible. But the way we discern, I think, has a real strategy now, and it's got a lot to do with our goals. And I think what we're really good at and not good at, we'll come to in a minute. So a lot of problems that I see with people, and this is why I did the episode with Canna on finances, is that so many people do not do budgets. And it was actually really interesting. Someone said to me on the weekend, I don't want to do a budget. I just want to be free. And the problem with that is that you don't actually know what's going on in your life. So how can you be free if you don't know what's going on? And I was talking about this morning with a client. The concept of the archetype of the ruler is structure and organisation so that you can actually have insight into yourself. So Shaun and I had this goal of buying a house together. We had money from his house, had money from my house, but we still needed more money. We needed to be able to service the loan, and I was sick, so we didn't have as much income as we would have had. Getting a budget is actually, sitting down and doing a budget together and having financial goals is actually a very rewarding job, activity as a couple. And I can say as a woman going through a period where I earned a lot less money and I had a lot of negative beliefs about that and emotional problems with that, it actually gave me a sense of the value that I was putting into our family by being the stay-at-home parent. It also gave me a sense of the value that I had by contributing to our financial choices and, all of the stuff that I do in the house to keep our budget on track. Just stupid little things like my little schedule of when I put all the washing and the dishwasher on and everything all at night time because it's cheaper, electricity is cheaper at night time, and paying all our bills early. We get a discount for paying all our bills early. Like all of that stuff is boring to a lot of people. But when you've set a financial goal together and you know what the goal is together and you do all these things to work towards the goal, those little things don't become boring. They are purposeful. And
good job, yeah.
And then it's not a problem together. Like we don't.
Yeah. They're not enjoyable tasks, but you're working as a team to get them done that fills a broader purpose, and they fit into a routine, right? They kind of just become normal and, fill you with joy, but it works and it's part of, and therefore it reduces stress as well. Like if it's all organised like that and it's serving a positive purpose to the broader family, be it financially or whatever, then great.
Yeah. And I think we do have some work to do in our finances though, because Shaun and I are really good at saving and we're really good at budgeting and we're really good at, getting, we bulk buy a lot of food. Yeah. We're really good at getting the cost of everything down, researching products, so we always buy things on special or get a bargain. We're so good at it, both of us.
I've got a bomb shelter down there under the house that has months supply of
so when COVID hit, we already bulk bought anyway. All of a sudden, just so you know, we weren't those people.
Panic buy, but just...
Well, we weren't those people. We've always bulk bought.
If you've got a bit of space, like, it's the best way to do it, right? Because, like, we've got that chest freezer out the front that you could fit at least 4 human bodies in. Not that I use it for that at the moment, but... and so you can wait for our free range butcher to go on special on some certain things, bulk by that. It's all vac sealed, it's all in there. And all of the staple products we use, if they're not perishables, you can buy them like that. And like, there's some phenomenal savings. Like, you don't want to get too nitpicky with all that. Like, we're not talking about saving, 5 cents, 10 cents here and there. We're talking about significant amounts because they do add up for sure. I agree with that. Completely agree with
Well, yeah, and I think having a financial budget and looking at what you save. So, for instance, we both went, oh my God, look how much money we spend on coffee.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Like, we were like, oh, wow, we both got takeaway coffee.
It was a $5,500 a year thing, at least. Could have even been more depending on how busy or stressed I was at work when you're buying coffees. Yeah, and that was reduced by 2/3 or something I've taken thunder, by buying beans, and
getting a
grinding our own, doing just pour over coffees. I don't miss that at all.
No.
That's a huge, when you look at it on an annual basis, like, that's a huge amount of money.
It's a huge amount of money. But then also you did have some leeway because, like I said with Canna, like when we first moved to do a different suburb, what I said to you was, well, you actually said to me, like, I didn't know anyone in the neighbourhood and I would go and get a coffee and sit in a coffee shop and I ended up talking to all these other mums with their babies. And so we laxed the coffee budget for a while because what we worked out was that was my only connection with other people.
It's antisocial.
And funnily enough, like, one of the women that I met, they're like our best friends in the suburb, and they're like the kind of friends we'll have forever. And then after I'd done that, we just met at the park when our kids got older and they couldn't sit in the coffee shop. So I stopped buying coffee. I'd just bring my coffee that I made at home to the park. And, so I think like that level of communication and knowing each other and going, well, is this really working for you right now or is it stressing you out? Like, let's make a change so this can help us with our life right now. Like sometimes...
The coffee thing is such a good example because it's not cutting it out.
No.
I mean, and we love coffee. Absolutely love it. So I think it's a really good example because you don't need to cut things and like punish yourself or sacrifice.
No, but it changed as well.
There's a smarter way of doing it and a very, very cost-effective way of doing it.
But it changed as well. Like it changed for a while. I started having takeaway coffee again.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm just so it's not set in stone. You were really good to go. Like maybe you should do that for a while. It'll make you happier. So I think that's super important to be able to change goals, and always be reflective of what's going on. And I think the other thing too is that because we have a budget, we have a surplus of savings, so we can actually use those savings to bulk buy and get things on special and. Then we're always repaying the savings. So we don't really have any financial stress living that way.
You say that
we just bought a house. So, but now, no, we've just taken on more. We just bought a house. So now, but the first thing I said to Shaun was when we bought the house was, okay, well, so now we need to do a new budget because we need to build our savings back up. And one of our goals is paying our mortgage off by the time we're 60. So that when we get to 60, we can live mortgage free, takes a lot of pressure off. We save probably $1 million in interest. Also, and our other goal is to start a passive income. So we're going to restructure all our accounts the way Canna talks about in her podcast with her partner. And, so we're constantly reassessing our goals and constantly resetting them. So, and that's teamwork. Like we do it together as a team and I don't know, like even though I'm not making as much money as you at the moment, I feel really like I'm contributing and we make all these decisions together.
Yeah. So I think though, in fairness, to be honest, one of the things we don't do so well when it comes to budgets is spending money on ourselves. And, we treat ourselves with dinners and breakfasts from time to time. Like we go out once a week for breakfast. That's our little special treat. But clothes, we're wearing rags. I picked up, I took a shirt off the other day because it had so many holes in it. I put another one on it. It had more holes in it. You've got a pair of shoes that are so, like, depleted. Like, they look like they're 10 years old.
I think they are.
And you've been saying for, like, over a year at least you want to buy new shoes. Like, it's ridiculous. Our little daughter's walking around in Jamie K, meanwhile, like, in really nice clothes. And we're the parents walking into school looking like refugees.
What do you think? What do you think it is for you that you don't like spending money on yourself?
I used to, but I feel like it's secondary. Like, don't get me wrong, like consciously I think it's important, but I kind of just feel like when you're saving for a house and all that sort of thing, you put up with things. But it gets you down when you put it, when all your clothes are just so old. And, I do have a couple of like nice things and I've got some nice suits, but like I'd never not wear a nice suit to work, for example. But when it's day-to-day stuff, it needs to change. And, we were talking about it the other day, right? What about you?
Well, I think over to me. I actually have a beautiful wardrobe full of clothes. It's just that they're all 3 sizes too small. And
you're waiting for your killer model body.
I'm waiting to lose
the one that
20.
The one that you lured me into.
Yeah, I know. I know. You really got upsold and then overpromise, underdeliver. That's what I run by. No. For me, it's definitely like I have a beautiful wardrobe full of clothes. Not full of clothes. I'll say that I have quite a small wardrobe. My thing with clothes is always buying sustainable. So I don't buy cheap clothes because I just think of all the waste, all of the underpaid, poor people that make them. So, normally in these times of your life, you just go, okay, well, I'll just buy some cheap clothes to get me through that period. And that's just really against my value system.
What do you mean by waste? You mean, explain yourself.
Well, if you go and buy like, a $5 T-shirt that doesn't last, it doesn't last very long, so you end up chucking it out and it goes to landfill.
Yeah.
To like, how on earth do you make a T-shirt for $5? Like, that's just ludicrous. It's like I just see poor little people in third world countries going blind and hungry, like trying to make them. So, I always buy good quality organic T-shirts, like $100 a T-shirt. And the ones that I have, they last me, I've got some that last me 10 years. I've only just ripped now because I'm too big to be wearing them and I've stretched them. So, I don't buy cheap fashion. I do buy a lot of secondhand designer stuff. But the problem with that is I buy it online on Vestia, can't try it on, and I have absolutely no idea what size I am or how things are going to fit because I'm a totally different shape. So it's a bit of an emotional thing for me. But yeah, we did talk about it because Karen was saying how she sets up a little, they have a budget where each of them gets, pocket money, if you will, an equal amount for each of them to spend at their own discretion. So buying your own clothes, going out, getting your hair. Buying gin. You would buy gin. I don't know what I buy. Shaun made a joke. He said, what do you need an account for? You don't spend any money anyway. I don't. So I think, it's something I still need to work on. It's great to be able to save and stuff, but I think you also need to be able to enjoy life. And it's true. I feel crap. I went out last night and I'm like, what am I going to wear? Like, I felt pretty crap.
Like, I could see your mood just go when, you're picking between one or two things. It's like, you want to go out and feel good, and even if it's just going out for breakfast, like you don't want to go out in that mood of not that I'm not saying you're moody, but like
no, you are.
Yep. Tell me what you really think. Can I make another point? You just jog my memory on the organic point about buying organic clothes. And it ties in with what we were talking about earlier on food and buying, good quality food and clean or, free range meats and organic wherever we can. Like, there was a point where it can be bloody expensive.
It's so
expensive.
expensive.
Our food budget is extortionate. Like, when we were filling out that mortgage application, the loan application, you know, I remember looking at the numbers and just going, whoa, like it's ridiculous. And because I was going through our statements and trying to work out, like, just you know, I know we've got our budgets, but I was trying to work out actual amounts and whatnot because you have to disclose all that sort of stuff. And I was blown away. But, you know, what I guess my point is it is worth it, but there needs to be a line. And I think I'm going to have a little pot here. You came home from Taste Organic or one of those shops with like a $20 jar of butter.
That was like a
and
splurge.
I was like,
it was ghee. It was ghee.
No, it wasn't ghee. It was just like this
something?
butter that, I don't know what it did. It basically spread itself. I don't know what else it did. It ought to, for that sort of price. And I remember just going, no, that is... That? Oh,
was I like in my...
I don't know. It was like a couple of years ago. But I distinctly remember it being a point where I was like, no, that is the line. And you just leapt over it.
I know. I think that was when I was in my phase. It can get
out of control, the organic stuff, and you've just got to be a bit sensible. Like,
well, yeah, I think that's when I was in that phase with brain fog, and I was doing really stupid stuff. I didn't even get to the supermarket. Sometimes I didn't even know what I was there for. I
was afraid to eat that butter. It was so good. I was like, I don't want to eat it.
I know, because you'll just never be able to go back. I know. So I think this is a really important point that we believe in eating organic and, you know, contributing to the environment with our dollar and all of that stuff. And so we'll always make sure that we have the money to do that, but it's also done within reason.
But there's a cost. There's a sacrifice. You need to work out within your budget. Like that maybe that ties in with clothes. I'd rather buy really good food than be walking around in the latest designer clothes or whatever. I'm not saying I like wearing rags, and that was an exaggeration, but, you know, there needs to be... your budget needs to sort of be proportionate to your values.
Well, that's true, right? And the thing is, right, so I do value some designer clothes because they're sustainable, they actually pay the workers properly, so I buy brands that do that. So they're more expensive, but I might just buy one piece or two pieces and, you know, have a real capsule wardrobe that you're thinking about, you know, what is this... you know, these pieces that I can wear. So I think some people need to be realistic and go, well, I don't need 10 pairs of shoes because I would really just wear one or two. Like most people just wear like a couple of outfits on rotation and hardly wear the other ones. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You know, so we're just really conscious about what we buy. Yes, I do need to buy more clothes. So, but also we did things like we really sat down so many times with all our food budget, and I'm actually Canna's going to interview me on the weekend about saving money on food, so I'll save that for that episode with her and you guys can listen to that. But we really worked together to get our food budget down because, yes, we eat organic, but you need to rein that in. So, you know, like going to the farmer's market and buying direct from the farmer is the cheapest way to buy organic fruit and veg, and so that's what we do. We also...
And it lasts longer, you know, it's better quality.
Well, yeah, because we had a moment, every Christmas the farmer's market closes and we have to order from like, you know, some of the bigger chains and order organic food from them or get conventional.
Shelf life is like a quarter of
the shelf life on the conventional stuff is just rubbish.
So much time in refrigeration and logistics and all the rest.
Yeah, the transport and everything, like it's unbelievable. So every time we do that, every Christmas we go, oh, this is just a waste. We're going back to our organic farmer. But also I think because we have a budget, but we also have a meal plan. And so we order online. So you stick to your list and you don't go to this, like I'm really bad at the supermarket if I go because I'm like, oh, well, let's try this $20 butter. Like it's just better to be at home and do it on a spreadsheet and send in the order and not buy anything outside of your list. And because we meal plan, we don't have any food waste. So we've really cut down everything, and that's something that we do together. And I'd really like to point out that Shaun actually is the person that does the shopping every week. So he has got it down to a T. Like what meat we order in bulk, and when it gets delivered, like he's in charge of the chest freezer, because, you know, you can only freeze things for like 3 to 6 months. You have to eat them. So he's in charge of all of that, and he does an amazing job and is on top of all that. I hate shopping, to be honest. That's another reason why I don't spend money on clothes. I hate shopping. I hate all kinds of shopping, food shopping, everything shopping. So we prefer to order online, but it does save you a huge amount of money, I think, ordering online. And it just means getting organised. Like,
yeah.
It's something we do together as a team. One, because it makes our week easier, because you're not sitting there going, what's for dinner? Which is like the worst thought at lunchtime. Like, well, what the hell am I going to cook for dinner? I hate that thought.
Yeah, so do I.
And we never have, you know, we're working from home, or even when Shaun was in the office, we take our lunch. Like, we never ever buy lunch out. Like, the couple of times that you've bought lunch out, right, you come to me, you're home to me, you're like, I'm bloody starving, because you just can't buy enough food.
And it's so expensive, especially in the city.
And then you don't get enough protein. Like, it's just, you know, mostly rice or whatever. And so if you're training, like Shaun would train every day at lunchtime and then come back and need a lot of food for the training that you're doing. Like, we save a lot of money by not doing takeouts and just being prepared. So I can't stress enough how important it is as a couple to have a budget, have a meal plan, have a system of shopping and ordering food.
Yeah, you got to get it in bulk. You've got to have it all there. Otherwise, you're scrambling around. It takes forever. It's stressful. It's expensive to buy, you know, on the day for one meal. You've got to have that investment of all the key staples already there. And you've got to have all your Tupperware containers, for example, like, even down to that. Like, whenever we cook, 3 or 4 of the meals that we cook at night through the week are meals for 6 to 8 people. They're big meals. And we always do a massive batch on the weekend, like a curry, so that, you know, it does lunches for the whole week. And then you just don't need to think about it. It's just effortless.
That goes for Shanti's lunches as well.
Yeah.
So if we don't eat sandwiches, I think most of you guys listening will know that. So Shanti actually has
Mr. Bailey slow cooked.
She does. She has like beautiful food.
Air fried coconut oil, organic potatoes.
But all that stuff like takes no time to prepare.
Yeah, if you do a batch of it.
Yes, batch. So it's just so our fridge is full of food basically in containers, and so you can go to the fridge and, you know, depending on how you're feeling or what you've done that day, you can choose more carbs, more protein, less carbs. Like Shanti, can go to the fridge, like she can't reach because the fridge is on the top and the freezer's on the bottom, but she can stand there and she'll go, oh no, I feel like sausages, or I feel like eggs. Like, it's all pre-made. So, and then, you know, probably twice a week we would do a bit more of a cook up and food prep. And it's actually, you know, it's really nice. On Saturday, it's a thing that we do together, right? We empty all the boxes when they come, put all the food away, and the 3 of us do it together. And we do all the cooking of root vegetables and put the curry on. Like, it's a family activity that we do together, and it's been really good for Shanti as well. I think, you know, she's actually knows how to cook, and she's only 3.
She was making schnitzel the other day, literally. Like, I filleted it all, but she was putting the chicken into the egg, like patting it on both sides, putting it into the crumbs, like properly pushing the crumbs down. We videoed it. Remember?
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was just like, wow.
She loves cooking, and I think it's, you know.
Well, she also enjoys her meal more, knowing that she's had input in it. Like, when we make burgers on Monday night, she'll help make the patties, has the cheese, puts the cheese on top, and like when she's sitting there eating it, because, you know, sometimes toddlers can be funny with food. She knows how she's contributed to it. It makes a big difference.
Yeah. So I think it's really something to work together as a team. And, you know, like this is 2020, you know, I think gone are the days where things are women's work and men's work. And, you know, I think there's times in your life, obviously.
Well, I like cooking though.
Well, you do like cooking. That's fair.
It's
but
but
it's not hard for someone.
You know, it is tiring because, you know, it's at the end of the day, and if you've been up early as well, like sometimes it's more pleasant than others. I would say that, but I generally do like cooking.
Yeah.
I certainly like cooking on the weekend when you can pull out a stiff gin and tonic. Crank some music.
But it's also like, well, maybe if, there's certain people that don't like cooking, you could still do the shopping. Like, it's just sitting down online with the spreadsheet and ordering all the food with the list, like there's ways that people can contribute to different things in the house. That's
the beauty of the chest freezer. Like, yeah. It takes up 3/4 of our front porch. It looks hideous, but the ability to go in there and grab portioned, vac-sealed meat across all of the different meats, like there's always something in there. It takes all the stress out of it, I have to say, because I know it's there. Like, I'll only ever go to the shops really in person maybe once a week.
Yeah, just to grab milk if it's run out or something.
Well, yeah, we don't get milk and that delivered because it's...
it's just fresh stuff. Or if you run out of herbs or something like that, it's a real quick rush to the shop. And I think, so I've got some clients that shop every day. I just don't even know how you have time for that. But then you don't shop well and you buy crap because you're in front of the confectionery while you're waiting at the checkout. And, so I think it's just planning ahead and doing it together as a team. But I think, this is a good point to switch to, through COVID, it was quite stressful because I just really started getting back into work. I've obviously worked part-time, done bits and pieces here and there, but this year was my year to get back into work in a big way. And then COVID came along and we didn't have childcare anymore. And we really had to pull together as a team to make it work because we'd set a financial goal for the next couple of years in terms of my income. And also what meant with COVID is that it's unlikely that Shaun's going to make more money or get bonuses or pay rises, so to be able to make our financial family goal, we really have to pull together as a team. And so for us, that meant Shaun trying to give me space to work, which was great because I put the podcast together over that break, which is just absolute ton of work, but it's been so great for my business.
And you've enjoyed it. You've loved it.
Yeah, it's made me happy, right? So even just 2 hours a day to do that. And so every night Shaun would take over with Shanti for 2 hours in the afternoon. So they would cook dinner together and watch a movie together. And so he's been in charge of the food. I don't think I've cooked a meal since March. And we've just been using that as my work time. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, because we know what our goals are as a couple, a financial goal, my career goal for my personal fulfillment, happiness, I think, I'm so much more present and so much more a better mother with Shanti after I've done some work and had some time of working on my passion project.
You're less annoying as well for me. I saw a card the other day. It said, "I love you more and more each day, except for yesterday when you were a bit annoying." Sort of sums you up, really. Go on.
But that whole part has taken a lot of communication as well. Because obviously Shaun will get work that comes in and he has to tend to it straight away, so I have to drop everything. And so that can be really frustrating for me because I'm like, oh my God, I was just really looking forward to doing this. But, we've just...
It's understanding the demands of each of our different jobs and appreciating that for the time being and for the foreseeable future, I'm the breadwinner. And so when that urgency comes in, that trumps what you need to do. And it's just that understanding that we have together, which is important, right? Because you don't want to have that debate at that time. It's like, no, I need to respond to this. You don't want to have to do that. It's just understood. And it makes it a lot easier, I have to say. I feel like that's really important. It's really important. And, I know other couples that have, they're sort of, I don't know if it's an earning thing or, they don't really have that understanding. There's always that tension there when it's like, well, hang on, why do I need to sacrifice my work sort of thing, and it's difficult. So I reckon it's a source of a lot of tension with people, and I get it. So just allow me to keep earning more money than you.
So you can have
even if it's just a little bit more, because then I could just hold that card over you and just go, sorry.
Nah, man, it's a total competition. I'm so going to make more money than you. No, we're joking, guys. We actually do not care who makes more money than who, as long as we reach our financial goal. It's never like that. And I think that, you know, you look at your contribution, like I would contribute a lot more, obviously, as terms of parenting, looking after Shanti.
Yeah, well, you've certainly got the patience, that's for sure.
Not at the moment, though. I think it's pretty even. You spend a lot of time with Shanti. I guess that...
I definitely swear more.
You definitely swear more.
Dropped a big F-bomb this morning.
You did. You did. That wasn't very a Montessori moment, was it? No, it wasn't. Well, I guess it's a good time to talk about parenting.
Yeah.
So we basically, I sort of said that I didn't really ever want to have children. And that's because I believed that having children meant giving up my career and becoming a housewife and, you know, just being miserable, which of course is just a belief and it's not true. But as soon as I met Shaun...
That was the ice queen. The
ice queen. She was horrible. So when I realised how supportive Shaun was and how much he understood, how much I love my career and, you know, it's more than a career, it's giving back to the world and all that stuff, I realised, I don't know, I just wanted to have a child with him. And I think we met in February and we didn't physically meet in person till March, and then July we were on holiday together and Shaun said, I really have a baby with you. And I said, yeah, okay. And then we were pregnant in October, so...
It was quite a beautiful moment. I love the woman's version of that. Yours is like, you know, I felt supported and blah, blah, and I was just like, you were hot, I wanted to knock you up.
You're so... Well, I think
I mean, in fairness, like, I knew you would be an incredible mother, and, like, lo and behold, like, you blew that out of the water. Like, it's amazing how much natural you are. Plus, like, it was awesome when you were pregnant, you know? Like, it's a real special, what's that word? Like,
sacred?
Goddess.
Oh.
It's a real goddess.
Thanks, darling.
Well, I've had my sincere moment. That's it.
Oh. Well, I think this is a really good time to talk about, as well as a partnership, because I talk so much about women being in charge of their cycle and using their cycle. Shaun, I didn't want to get into talking too much about sex, but we practice natural contraception, and that's a team sport. Team sport. So, you know, it was very easy for us to get pregnant, but it's also because Shaun knows my cycle really well. It's very easy for us to protect ourselves from getting pregnant as well. And I think that, I don't know, I think it's a really empowering thing as a couple, and it makes me feel very connected to you to know that that's a joint thing. You know, I've had boyfriends in the past who thought that contraception is a woman's problem, and, you know, it's really divisive and expect you to be on the pill, which can be really harmful for a lot of women. And I think that part of our relationship is another testament to the team that we're in. Like, Shaun knows where I'm at in my cycle without having to discuss it. You become quite intuitive about it, and so it's like you've got this little 28-day calendar in your head that just clicks over. Sometimes I know he knows
I know
more.
The day when you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm biting my tongue here. I don't want to say too much.
Yeah, but I just, like, would you agree that's something it's a couple thing?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think, though, to be transparent, like, it's easy to know that it doesn't necessarily mean it's easy to have another baby. Like, it's, you know, there are challenges. There are other challenges that come with that too, right? So, it's not all roses. Like,
I've been very sick though since, so it's not when I was healthy, it was very, very clear.
Yeah.
When I ovulated, and it was very easy to get pregnant, but obviously I've had a lot of health issues since then, which I've disclosed to a lot of you guys. So that is different. But I'm just saying, we're still, because I've got health issues, we're consciously not getting pregnant because I need to get better. So we're using natural fertility to understand when it is optimal, safe, all that sort of stuff. And that's done as a partnership, and it's agreement that we have at a partnership that we're not going to conceive until if and when it's the right time. So, and, you know, I think that's hard for Shaun because he would really like another child and all I can focus on is getting better. So I have to say, like, for the most impatient person I've ever met, you are the most patient with me and my health, and like it's just amazing. Like,
I know I can slip one past the goalie at any point. So,
so
always got that card up my sleeve.
It's that's been a testament to our relationship too, is that when I've been so sick and Shaun has taken care of me and supported me through all of that. And that I cannot say, I think that being so aligned in our values on how important health is, that has ensured that Shaun's been able to have an understanding of my illness and do everything that he can to help support me to do that, you know, whether it's give me time to go to the gym or, you know, when Shanti was a baby, give me more time to sleep. He's been so supportive in that postpartum period with making sure I ate properly, had enough food, like, you know.
It's a big effort, though. It's not easy.
Well, it's a massive effort, but I do think it's...
You know, health can dominate your life. Like, I feel like it has to a large degree.
Yeah, it has,
I've said that. It's like, sometimes it just feels like it's never ending.
But... yeah, it has been, and we've had a rough trot with it, but as a family, as me individually. But I think that postpartum period, Shaun took a lot of responsibility in terms of cooking and all that stuff, so that, you know, and I think this is a really key factor in why women don't breastfeed successfully, because there's not a lot of support. You know, if women are exhausted and having to do all of the housework themselves, all the cooking themselves, not get any sleep, do the breastfeeding, all that sort of stuff, there isn't really an environment to support healthy breastfeeding because mothers are so stressed they can't actually even get the oxytocin to be able to breastfeed. So, you know, Shaun was amazing when in that postpartum period. Like, we did batch cook a whole lot of stuff before Shanti was born. I did do that. But he was just amazing in making sure that I was fed and going, you know, like I used to have a sleep at about 8 a.m. He'd take Shanti for a walk so I could have a sleep, you know, or even at 5 a.m. he used to take her so I could have a sleep or something. It just made us get through that time so much better. And, you know, and obviously the stress falls onto the mother most because it has to, because if you want to breastfeed, that's how it works. You know, I really didn't want Shaun to get up in the night because he was going off to work. And so I wanted him to sleep a full night so he could be awake during the day. So we made sure that was, you got sleep and I was up. You know, we just really, before we even had Shanti, we had an agreement of how it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. I think a lot of people, even though we'd only known each other for 3 months before we decided we wanted to have a baby, I think we were very clear on what kind of family we wanted to have and what kind of environment we wanted to raise our child and what kind of roles and responsibilities that we would have. So there was a bit of resentment on my part because I just was like, oh, you get to go to work every day. And you get to have all this time by yourself. And so there was a little bit of resentment, but I couldn't really, I think a bit of that's natural. I couldn't really resent you because you were so amazing. You were looking after me.
Well, swings and roundabouts, isn't it? And I think that's one of the things, like that one of the themes through all of this is that, you know, it's not always equal, the partnership or the team. Sometimes it's more the burden or the contribution is more on one party than the other, be it financial or whatever, you know, otherwise. But, you know, it swings around. Like, you know, when I'm overseas for work or if I'm really busy, then I know that full support's there and more of the burden is on you or more of the contribution is on you. So, but it all, you know, ultimately when you stand back and look at it, it's generally pretty even. And so you can't always control that.
No, you can't. But I think it's always coming back to your values and reassessing your goals and having like really strong communication about how you're going to work. I mean, even just little things, right? Like we have quite a little system. I was talking about this with a client. I can't say how many times I talk about this with clients. Is you need a timetable to do all your house chores. I cannot say how invaluable it is to have a system where you do house chores, where you do shopping, where you do everything, and it's a team. It's a system that and a timetable that you both share. So we don't actually have a physically written out spreadsheet of that stuff.
I'd rather kill myself.
Yeah, I know. Whereas some people like to have it all spreadsheeted and like to have all their tasks sorted out. And there's actually a book. So my friend Lorraine Murphy, she has a podcast, and I encourage you to listen. There's an episode where she and her husband talk about how they actually divided up their household tasks, because that was something they more needed to sit down and do consciously. Shaun and I do it much more unconsciously. So we do have tasks that we each do, and we do them in a set way. So for instance, in the morning, Shaun gets up and goes for a run. And while he's gone out for a run, I empty the dishwasher from the night before, clear the kitchen, get it ready for him to cook. He always cooks a hot breakfast in the morning. While he's cooking the hot breakfast, I fold all the washing that's been in the dryer overnight. We do a vacuum every day. We take turns doing Shanti's nighttime routine, and the other one of us will vacuum and clean the kitchen. And so, like, there's a process that we do every day. And just like the smallest thing, like forgetting to put the dishwasher on before you go to bed and waking up with a dishwasher full of dirty dishes, like, it just throw the whole morning out. So yeah, we just have this unconscious timetable. And I think that it really works, because then we don't have like to do a whole Saturday of cleaning, a whole Saturday of washing, a whole, it's just little bits done every day, and it's shared between us. And some of us do more tasks. Like Shaun doesn't do washing.
Yeah.
Like, that's just my job, and it's not like it's a woman's job or anything. I'm just better at it. I find it easier. I can do it quite quickly and unconsciously, and I do all that stuff. It's just not Shaun's thing.
But then I vacuum.
Well, yeah, and you take out the rubbish and stuff like that.
It's a Dyson. It's one of those handheld Dysons.
I'm so excited about the Dyson.
I use it. I could never use a vacuum cleaner that had a cord. This thing is quick. It's powerful. It's efficient. It's awesome. And it's even better when you're vacuuming on a Friday or a Saturday with a gin and tonic in your hand. And you've got some tunes as well.
I know, he does. He does.
It's just like, it's awesome.
But like, we kind of joke, like we dance around while we do some cooking and food prep, and like Shanti dances around with us. Like, it's a family event. And now Shanti's actually, of her own accord, like, started helping me in the kitchen in the morning, unpacking the dishwasher, because I think she also sees that it's not someone's job or someone's role. It's something that we all do together as a family. And so she just instinctively joins in and wants to do it together. I think that, it can be a real trap if we have that women do this and men do this, or, and kids just think that that's the way it is when you grow up, and it's not.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well is geared to not just freeing up the weekend or being like dumping it all onto the weekend. It's also the ability to have our little girl down in bed with the light out and normally asleep by 7 o'clock. And that means from that time, or a little bit after that time, there's an hour or two for us just to have some time together. Because like, it's great to be able to switch off at that time rather than at like 9 or 10 o'clock. When you really, we get to bed early. Like, we're normally in bed by 9 o'clock. But if you're still going and moving around at that point of the night because you haven't got your ducks in a row and divvied it up and just got stuff done.
Yeah.
A, you're running around, and so you can't go to sleep when you jump into bed. And B, you don't get any time together or time to yourself. Like, I just love reading my book for half an hour,
Yeah.
And if you do that all through the week, it's awesome.
It's just nice to sit down. Like, we sit down in a clean room, and we sit down and talk some nights. Sometimes we just sit together and read. Sometimes we'll do something on our own. We don't watch TV during the week, by the way.
We don't watch TV during the week.
We just actually get to have time together. And, that's our thing. One of our love languages is quality time. And so we really value every day having an hour together where we can talk or not talk, or, that's really important for us in our relationship. Like, we actually feel like, or we don't have that, we get really grumpy with each other. We miss each other, but we just get grumpy with each other and annoyed with each other.
And also just feel disconnected because, you just get caught up with the grind and, if you don't make an effort to stay connected like that, it's very easy to sort of, we sometimes walk up to each other in the morning and go, I feel really disconnected. And we both say the same thing, right? So, yeah.
And it's also like time to have, like we actually find if you get too busy, then you do go out on a date and it's really awkward. You like don't know what to talk about because you haven't spent any time together.
Oh, that's awkward. I don't feel like that. Jeez.
No, but you know, sometimes you just know. Like so when we talk together at home every night, like the other night we were talking about like economics and how that affects the cost of food and how this relationship with China is going to affect the cost of food.
Sometimes you're so intense though. It's 8:30 at night and you start heating up into a debate. I'm like, nah, I want to read my book.
I know. Well, it's sometimes funny because
you can talk to me like that in the morning at breakfast. Sometimes when you're in your head and you're thinking about work during the day, and I'm sitting there going, "Cool, this is a great chat." And I'm talking to myself.
We're not perfect, guys.
I'm talking Shanti's language.
We're really not perfect. We're really not perfect, but yeah, we just really like to talk to each other, and I think it's different for me because I talk to clients all day and I'm talking about them, and I just want to have a conversation at night time about what's going on in the world. And Shaun reads the news and he'll tell me what's going on, and we can talk about it. And you know, we just bought a house, so we want to look at some design stuff that we want to do
that we can't afford.
Yeah. No, we can. We're going to start our savings account for spending money on ourselves, and we can buy nice things for our house. So, yeah, I think for us, communication is a huge value. So we actually need to have this system and this timetable so that we can actually have time together to communicate. But I do want to bring back to, so we have got help. And I really want to talk about this because we're not perfect. We have bumps in the road, and we have, we've had one massive disagreement. We don't actually fight very often.
I'd love to fight more.
No, he'd really like to fight more. I'm not a fighter. I'm just like, let's just talk about it like a pair of grown-ups. And so we do talk through stuff a lot, and we feel like we can talk through everything. So we've had one thing that we could not agree on, but the thing is that we both thought at the same time, like it was a few days of just like not talking to each other and being really upset and uncomfortable, and we both pretty much said at the same time, let's go and see a therapist together. And we couldn't
resolve the issue.
We couldn't.
We were at an impasse, a genuine impasse.
Yeah. So we went straight to therapy basically, and we had such a good, we still didn't resolve the issue because it's just two different opinions. However,
we kind of did, didn't we?
Well, we did, but you know what I mean. It's not.
I would have thought. I mean, it depends on how you define resolution. It wasn't. She was awesome, that lady.
She was so good.
She was the best, and I kind of felt like every time we walked out of there, we're like, oh, that was amazing. So,
I think
if you don't call that resolution. At the very least, it was an understanding of our respective positions, a deeper understanding of where the impasse is coming from.
Yeah.
I call that a resolution.
Yeah, you're right. I like that. You're right. It's
definitely a positive outcome.
Yeah. And I think, the thing is that you get so caught up, sometimes you can't see the other person's point of view, right? You just really can't because you're so traumatized and stuck in your point of view. So having that third person to help you work through that, and it just,
they need to be good though.
She was very good. They need to be good. There's some counsellors that are just not. So if anyone wants this lady's number, she was amazing. I'll put it in the show notes. She really helped. She really pointed to me that I had a bit of postnatal depression, which I wasn't really aware of, and I didn't really think I had. But she, and that was really helpful to Shaun to understand some stuff because I do that internal thing. And then so it was really helpful for me to talk to him better. And, it gave me permission to go, I do have postnatal depression because it was about losing myself and the grief of my former self, not a chemical postnatal depression. So, and that really helped me work through that. And I just feel like it had just brought us so much closer.
Yeah, it's true. It was, it's interesting because I've always been a big fan of counsellors and coaches and psychologists and all the rest of. I've always never had an issue reaching out to them over for 20 odd years. I just think they're amazing, and they're an incredible resource if they're good to be able to just talk about stuff frankly and even just intellectually just sort of explore things and challenge things, and I've mostly done that by myself. But to find someone where they can help you, work through something together, I think is incredible. And there's something powerful about doing it together rather than doing it individually.
Yeah.
Like by yourself, seeing different people as well. Like there was a lot of power in that because we sort of felt united in wanting to resolve. Not to say that you shouldn't go and see someone yourself or whatever. I'm not, I don't think there's a wrong way to do it, provided that you've got someone that's good.
I always think it's like a must, right? It's like you get your car serviced every year. You go get a medical every year. Like, why not get a relationship check
or
every
just,
year? Or
just go and speak to someone for your own sake. It's so true. You break your arm and you go and see a doctor. You can't not have something that's not on your mind to not need to resolve or whatever, and it just accumulates.
Yeah,
I reckon they're the best thing ever. Big advocate. I've always said that.
It brought us so much closer together. I can't say that enough. Like, it just made me fall more in love with you. Like, just because the longevity, I think, in relationship is the ability to go through something together and come out the other side, and that's what makes you stronger. It's not the how sexy you are and how amazing you are, but it's the resilience and the teamwork and all that stuff. Knowing each other.
I think on that, though, I think the difficulty with that was the unfamiliarity of such an impasse. We weren't. It was the first time we'd had, and it's not like we've been together for 20 years, but it's almost a bit daunting because you're like, well, like, hang on, what does this mean?
Yeah.
So I think it was that as much as anything,
And
anyway.
And the other thing that we've really sought help with is parenting.
Oh, yeah.
We really sought help with parenting. So, it's really interesting parenting because you spend so much time, like, with your birth, trying to plan your birth, and all this time goes into planning that and how you want that, and then you get this child and you have absolutely no effing idea what to do with them. And in terms of, like, parenting, when they get older and they start their behaviour, it goes outside of what you think is wrong or right, whether that's the right term to use. But I have found that parenting is the most challenging journey in your own personal development, because you have this little person who just reflects everything back at you, or like their behaviour escalates and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I just behaved like my parents and I didn't want to do that. Or, we've adopted a real Montessori parenting and childcare and school and all that sort of stuff. And so we really wanted to be true to that style. So there's been a few times we're just like, oh my God, what are we doing? This isn't working. Shaun and I are fighting because we're not agreeing on how to parent. And so, it brings up all your childhood trauma from how you were parented and what's unresolved and da-da-da. So we got a parenting coach, and that was Fern, who I've recorded an episode with. So
love you, Fern.
We love you, Fern. We love you, Fern. But what we found, like, I'm just ranting on here, but I'll let Shaun speak in a minute. But what I've really found is, again, the parenting coaching has really brought us together so close as a couple. Like, amazing. It's almost like having super duper extra special couples therapy. And I can commend Shaun so much. He's just always totally on board with doing all this stuff, which is amazing. And I'm so grateful that you're always on board. But do you want to say anything about the parenting coaching?
Yeah, I mean, thank you. That's nice. But it's the hardest thing I've ever done. No, there's no doubt about it. I mean, parenting, children, it's the hardest thing. But, I unreservedly, unconditionally would say that it's the most fulfilling and rewarding and beautiful thing in the whole wide world. So I have to say that, and I'm, how big I am on that. I've certainly had my moments where, you just kind of go on autopilot. There's no manual that you get. You just go on what, you sort of learned behaviour from the way you were brought up, and there are some good aspects of that, and there are some aspects to that you don't want to implement into your own parenting. And patience, like a lot of it comes back to that. I found that very difficult, especially when, our daughter is so healthy and happy and intelligent, and, you sometimes forget that they're only 3.
Yeah.
Where we've had got some advice on things, it's just been so invaluable and worth every penny. Absolutely. And, there's a lot of, not ego, but you're very vulnerable when you go into that state, because you're kind of admitting that you need help with parenting when, it's a very personal thing and it's very private to you as your family. So glad. And, I dare say that's not the last time we do that, because it's going to be different challenges.
I've got Fern on speed dial.
Yeah. All right.
But I think it's just that, your child is a person and they of their own volition, and you want them to be, but they also needs to be a limit. So I was really unclear of how do I give all this freedom but still put the limit in place?
Yeah, that's challenging.
That's so hard, because you don't want them to be this free range kid that's just running around the place and, no boundaries, and just because that's not going to raise a healthy person either. But so putting limits in place.
Yeah, that's hard.
And I found that really challenging because I came from such a hierarchical parenting experience, with punishment and so much shouting, and I just was where's the middle ground? So I'd almost swung too much the other way and was letting Shanti do too much and not putting in boundaries. And then Shaun was like, well, you're just push it over, making it harder for him, and I thought he was too harsh, and so we really had to work together to find this common ground. And also when you don't agree on something, your child can smell it like a dirty rat, and then they start, even at 2, start going manipulative. I don't want to say manipulative because that's a bad word, it's not the right word, but
they can sense the inconsistency
and then they just start playing you against each other, and then you fight because, Shanti wants to hang out with me because I'm the nice one and doesn't want to hang out with Shaun because he's the bad cop, but she's just playing me. She's not actually wanting to hang out more with me. So it can be quite divisive in your relationship. So, I think those 2 things, getting coaching when you need help, is just so vital. And it's we don't have that village anymore, and we don't have all that support that we used to have. Our parents lead different lives now, and good on them, they're living their own life and spending their retirement traveling and doing all that stuff. And we want our parents to do that. So I think, it's natural to just call in for help.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I think that, is there anything else you want to say? I would advertise Shaun's book that he's writing and his website and his own podcast and stuff, and put the links in the show notes for you. But
I don't even have an Instagram account.
No, you won't find Shaun on social media. He hates social media. You might find him doing a bird behind me in my social media.
Pulling a stupid face or showing my bicep. I like doing that.
The right bicep. On that note, I think we'll finish up there. But I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I don't know. I'd be really keen to hear what you guys think. I hope that it gives you some insight just in how you can work together to achieve health, and how much we really believe it's a team. But then, you guys got to tune into your values, your goals, and make it your own story and your own relationship and your own family. But I'm really grateful, honey. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
This is a one-time offer. That's all. No more. I loved it. Don't get me wrong, but I'll go back into my shell now.
And I respect that because I love you for who you are. I'm Leila Lutz, and you've been listening to The Body Never Lies. If you haven't yet, please go to your favourite podcast app and subscribe, rate and review this podcast. All the resources and references from this episode are waiting for you on my website, leilalutz.com. Just click on podcast and look for this episode. Now join me next week for another episode of The Body Never Lies. Thank you so much for listening.
Free from all old stories I've been told. my own shadow.